People who have been on TV, game shows. What are some behind the scenes secrets that regular viewers don't know about? Was in the audience at a Food Network taping, and Iron Chef America really is a 60-minute competition. That's not fudged. The judging on the other hand takes forever. What I never got is how the food doesn't get cold while waiting. Not sure if Iron Chef is the same. But on MasterChef the judges almost always taste the food cold. It goes straight into the fridge after the challenge has finished, and isn't brought out until the kitchen has been cleaned on MasterChef AU. At least 2 facts on MasterChef that I read somewhere. Can't remember the source so don't quote me on this. The dishes the MC contestants make are normally stone cold by the time they get to the tasting table. So the judges usually taste the element of each dish as they're walking around the kitchen during the cooking stage. This allows them to have some idea of how the finished dish will taste as well as see their proficiency with kitchen equipment. Basic OJT, on-the-job training, is conducted before a restaurant challenge, as well as when there are specific techniques involved. Egg souffle or mise en place. That's often why, even if contestants complain that they've never done something in their life, they still manage to produce something at the end of the challenge. This is one reason why Great British Bake Off is so cool. They taste it right away, going so far as to make the lava cake technical challenge staggered. So only one contestant was baking and being judged at a time. My teacher was on Wheel of Fortune Australia, and he won a life supply of WD-40. It turns out with average usage a can of WD-40 lasts 20 years. So a life supply is 4 cans. You win a lifetime supply of hammers. Here's one hammer. Apostrophe. Seriously. How does one break a hammer? With a hammer of course. Yes. But then if you only have one hammer, that's a lifetime supply. If you have 2 hammers, you need to get more to have a lifetime supply. They let the other girl in the showcase showdown, Price is Right, rebid after the audience booed her original bid, something silly low like $10,000. When it aired, they cut her original bid and showed only her second winning bid. I lost. Dude, they let her rebid and she won. That is some bullshit. Wouldn't the Gambling Commission, or whatever the equivalent is in the US, have a seriously big problem with this? Edit. Gambling Commission was the wrong department to use, as many have correctly pointed out. It's not gambling as they are not using their own money. However, there is a branch of UK government called OFCOM that regulates gamma shows and makes sure they are fair and not in any way rigged to suit the needs of the producers of said show. Doesn't the US have something similar to that? You don't have to pay to be on the show, so it isn't gambling. It does sound pretty shady of them though. Game shows are regulated, though. Contestants can't be affiliated with the networks and producers. They have a set of rules that all contestants agree to. Basically, if you're producing a show where you're claiming to hand out cash prizes or prizes worth any cash value, you can't fix the results. Laws were passed after some scandals back in like the 70s when legislators still actually gave a rest about companies scamming consumers. I would be very surprised if that story is as simple as I put it, if true at all. Was on a MTV game show called Fist of Zen on MTV. Basically a group of people subjected to painful and nauseating tasks for cash. We won every round, but the producer asked us to purposefully fail one to change things up. Despite losing one round, we were still paid the full prize money. Dude, I remember that. And you had to be quiet too during the whole thing. I thought that was called Silent Library. That show was wild. Originally was a Japanese show, then they modified it for US audiences. I recall an episode where a guy had to French kiss a catfish for 30 seconds and the friends had to stay silent. They had a little trouble with this one. I'm from England and had no idea there were Japanese and US versions also, haha. A work colleague of mine was one of the couples in Married at First Sight. She had a horrible experience, needed counseling afterwards, and is still receiving an appearance fee. Read hush money, even though her season aired like 5 years ago. Her words, UN real may as well be a documentary. Why did she need counseling? What happened that was so bad? Mainly emotional fallout. Producers would extract personal info about the people being paired up prior to the coupling, and then do the opposite for dramatic tension. So if you had someone that had been a victim of domestic violence in the past, they'd get paired with someone with a hot temper. Also, producers would leak information to others to set up a standoff. So perhaps one person might say something over drinks to another in confidence. The producers then take that and plant it with another person, so that over dinner it comes out and drama ensues. And of course out of context filming to create the character tropes, the victim, the villain, the winner, etc. My work colleague had an irrelevant story about a past relationship come out during a group dinner, and apparently it triggered a very angry response for the person she was paired with, and for the rest of the season she was goaded by him and the producers. They also weren't too interested in her leaving midway through, so kept stringing both people along to get what they needed on the contracted filming period. Unrelated to this, but Channel 9 got into huge hot water on last year's season of their innovation show The Block after one contestant couple broke their NDA and exposed a bunch of stuff about BS editing and poor treatment of contestants. Interestingly enough, a lot of the triggers that caused that have disappeared from this season. So if you had someone that had been a victim of domestic violence in the past, they'd get paired with someone with a hot temper. WTF. That's extremely cruel. Unfortunately, ethics isn't widely taught nor implemented in such things as it should be. I say ethics instead of morals, because morals are personal, whereas ethics are more standardized and tend to be universal. I was on Wheel of Fortune. You have to get there at 5 AM, where you draw straws with other contestants to decide when you will film. They filmed the entire week of episodes in one day. Pat Sajak is incredibly friendly and interacted with us on every break. The wheel is heavy. I was on it too. Yeah, the wheel is super heavy. Pat was really funny, kind of reserved on our end, just cracking really funny jokes once in a while in commercial breaks. All the contestants are very supportive of one another. Vanna was such a sweet person, and in the beginning she came in and said, "Hey everyone. Just wanted to come say hi and good luck before I go into Macup. This is what I normally look like." Laughs. I was also a contestant. Same experience. Both Pat and Vanna were incredibly friendly. The producers also supplied lunch for the contestants filming later. But I was on one of the earlier episodes. Won money but lost out on pizza. Money can be used for goods and services though. Money can't buy you free pizza. Well, unless there is a rewards program or nifty coupons. I was on Cash Cab. You can't just hail a cab in New York, which turns out to be the Cash Cab. There is a vetting process, but you don't know you are going to be on the show, so the reaction is genuine. Also, there is a lot of awkward silence time while he is listening to the producer in his ear. There is a cameraman riding shotgun unseen on TV. The money he gives is prop money for TV. They mail you a check after the show airs. Ben Bailey was genuinely a nice guy. I was on Cash Cab as well. Same deal. We were recruited at a trivia night, but were told we'd be on a show about food. Being on Cash Cab was awesome, but I was a little disappointed about not getting that sweet free meal. That seems to explain some of the random contestants I've seen on that show that seem a little less than enthused about the whole experience. Mayo. I remember watching some old guy who just seemed pissed about the whole thing. Maybe they were really pumped to be on some hypothetical show that they slowly realized doesn't exist. Yeah, I saw one with an old woman, and when Ben Bailey said, "What do you say? Are you ready to play?" she said, no games. Just get me to my destination." Lol, how did he respond to that? I remember asking them if anyone was ever just picked up on the street, and they said they used to do that. Until they realized that Randus made for terrible TV, and that things went a lot better when they actively targeted people who might be good on the show. I was in the audience at The Price is Right. You wait like 4+ hours just to get into the taping. They come by and give you a short interview to see if you are a good prospect to make it to contestant row. I was with a group of 4 and none of us made it. The studio audience is significantly smaller than it appears on TV. Drew Carey told jokes between filming. The set is tiny. The wheel is tiny. No secrets to reveal, except that they must use some serious lenses and angles to make it appear bigger. It was a long day, but it was a cool experience. I was a winner on The Price is Right. After the show, you're taken into a small room where you do paperwork. Some of the items that I won on screen, iPads, movie tickets and snacks for a year, were instead awarded as the cash equivalent. I had no say in the matter. Also, contrary to popular belief, the contestant does not have the option to request money instead of specific prizes. The only choice you have is to outright decline any of the prizes. Edited to add, winners of CBS game shows are not permitted to be contestants on CBS game shows for 10 years. Former Price is Right winners may still attend a taping, but a big diagonal line is drawn through their name on their name tag. What? That's super interesting. Considering, as you said, you often see in the fine print for some competitions that the opposite is the case, prizes cannot be exchanged for cash money. TBH, the cash would be most people's preference, I imagine. In America, games and gambling winnings are taxed, right? Guess it would be easier to give people money than an item they then have to spend their own money on for taxes. Correct. The value of all of the cash and prizes were taxed as additional income. You know, I never once considered this, but maybe the reason that some of my prizes were converted to cash was to give me the money to cover the taxes on the other items. The